Hey guys, what is up? So I just wanted to stop by real quick before this podcast starts and say you should like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow me on all my social medias at John D. Clouser. It's literally the same name as the name that you subscribe to on this YouTube channel. So enjoy this clip, and I'll see you guys on the other side.
Oh my. That's disgusting.
Oh, she's drinking rage. Oh my god.
Oh shit.
And you got your lipstick all over it.
Let's go.
All right, how are you all? What's going on? What is up? How's it hanging? Is it great? Beautiful day outside, don't you think? Well, what's up, guys? So we are here on another, I guess I'm here, and if you guys want to stop by, you guys are more than welcome to. So we're here on another episode of The John Show. This is episode 29. Can you believe it, guys? 29 episodes of me sitting in a room on the third floor of a mansion talking into a microphone. That's just what I've been doing for 29 of these episodes for 30 minutes at a time. That's what I do. Well, guys, hope, again, like I said, I hope everything's going well. Hope y'all are staying safe, wearing your masks, doing your thing that you need to do to be a functioning member of society these days. Everything's good on my end. Living life, being cool, being chill. Got yelled at by a Karen, which was awesome. I guess I totally forgot to write that down, but this is a story that I needed to talk about anyway. So today, it actually happened today. So as of you're watching this, I'm recording at 9 minutes till 9 o'clock on September 14th, 2020, our year of our Lord. And so I'm here doing a podcast. And this afternoon, this morning I woke up, because it's my one day off this week. Got up, kind of moseyed around, did my thing I needed to get done, went to the gym, came back. Anyway, so I parked my car, and I live on a very large block. No big deal. Like, it's just, a street on, like, any normal, like, street parking in front of a bunch of houses. Like, it's just one, you can only park on one side of the street. It's one way. It's great. There is so much parking. And when I parked, I was in my car for a second, because usually what I do is I'm like listening to something, or like, and so like they'll say something on a podcast. I'm like, oh wait, there was something I wanted to check, so I Google it real quick and I read it, and I might be in my car for another 5-7 minutes. I don't know, 2 minutes, whatever. It doesn't matter, because it's my car and I'm not really bothering anyone. And so I got out of my car, was getting ready to lock it and then go inside my house. And this lady came up, and she was like, "Hey, sir," and it was a Karen. And she was like, "Sir, can you please, can I get a moment of your time? Can you please listen to me, please?" She's like, "Well, like, I know I've noticed that you've parked here on this street." And I'm like, "Yeah, because I live here. I live in one of these houses." And she's like, "Well, like, I was wondering if you could possibly park as close up to the curb, at the beginning of the curb or at the end of the curb as possible, because, every inch of these things kind of count for, and there's limited parking, and it would be really helpful if you did that for me." And it's like, the thing that irritated the hell out of me was the one that, like, why are you noticing me out of everyone? Like, go fuck off. Like, why do you care, like, how I park my car? Like, is it like, is your car affected? Did you be able to park your car? If you be able to park your car and it doesn't affect you, then, like, you shouldn't worry about it, because at the end of the day, it's like, no one's gonna be able to park your car other than you. So worry about your own car, and that's it. And the thing is, like, there's so much there's so much opening spots all over the place on this street. And the thing is, you might have to walk another 20 feet. But what the thing is, like, it won't matter, because there's all these free parking spots. It shouldn't bother you that much. And the fact that you're bothering me about it just angered the hell out of me. It's like, and like, the thing is, like, I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry." And I was like, "Oh, okay, my bad." And I just locked my car and I just walked off. I didn't even move my car. I was like, go fuck off. Like, I'm not going to do this with you. I'm not going to play this game. I don't do that shit. No, because I don't bother anyone else. Like, I'm just like a pretty loner stoner guy. So I just want to be left alone, because I'm just always in my head with doing thinking, I'm like, how am I going to do a podcast? How am I going to do a podcast? Am I going to do a video? How am I going to do a video? Am I going to shoot something? Like, am I going to take a picture? What am I going to take a picture of? How am I going to do it? What kind of camera am I going to use? What kind of lens am I going to use? Well, if I'm going to do it, like, what kind of exposure? And then, like, well, anyway, what kind of, am I going to do it in the morning? Am I going to do it in the afternoon? Am I going to do it, like, am I just going to use my iPhone? Like, it's like, there's so many questions that I'm more worried about, and I'm in my head. And then that's just like my film stuff. That has nothing to do with like my workout stuff. So like I'm the same way with my workout stuff too. And it just irritated the hell out of me because this lady came out of nowhere. She just came out of nowhere. And of course, what was she doing? Was she using the sidewalk to walk? She wasn't. She was using the street. She was using the street, walking where cars drive. And the thing that's another thing that irritates the hell out of me. And I know I talk about this all the time, but I feel like no one's doing anything about it. The thing is, why there's a sidewalk? It has the word in it, like you walk on the side of the road. You don't walk in the road. Cars are there. Why do you want to take the chance or put yourself into an opportunity where like someone who might not be paying attention is going to hit you? And you're like, well, they should be paying attention because I'm a pedestrian. I'm like, but they are also in a car. So if there was an accident, God forbid, like you're the one that's going to get hurt out of the whole situation. No one else, only you. But that's what I got to deal with that today. That was a great thing to deal with. It was incredibly annoying, and it really irritated me. Like I know it shouldn't. I know those things really shouldn't bother me. I should laugh about them, tell them on a podcast, and move on. And I shouldn't like carry it on, but I'm like, I even called people. I was like, can you believe this lady? She had the fucking audacity to bother me about this, like about parking a car. Like, what am I, a child? Like, I'm not a child. I'm not your child. I parked the car. It's not hanging out in the street. It's not anything like that. It's just, I park it where I park it. If you don't like it, you know what you do? You can move drive like 2 more seconds and there's gonna be an open spot behind me, or you can like go back and swing back around and park behind me. I don't front of me or behind me, I don't care, other than like just don't bother me with some dumb stuff. And you know what, maybe I'm in the wrong. I don't feel like I'm in the wrong, because the thing is like, it's no one's, why do you care? That was the biggest thing. Like, why is it such a big thing that you had to come at me about and talk to me about? Like, I feel like it was like, now she went inside and she was able to like go on her dry erase board and just like talk to the guy that has the Honda and just like mark it off on like her checklist of things that she's done today. It really upsetted me. It really upset me. Oh God, that's another thing. My English has gone to shit this week. Not that good. Has not been that great. Has not been. So, well, I hope you guys are doing great, having a good week, doing great things, doing awesome things. What else? What else do I have? So there's a guy at my job who calls me Jack, and people always are like, Jack, I thought your name was John. I'm like, it is John, but Jack is short for John. This is another thing that irritates me, is that how is Jack short for John when John is only one syllable, and Jack, and like the thing is that it makes sense, like doing something like Bethany, Beth, that makes sense. That's completely understandable, because Bethany is Bethany, that's 3 syllables, and there's Beth, just 1 syllable. So that makes sense. But doing John, that's 1 syllable, then Jack, that's just 1 syllable, it makes no sense. There's absolutely no reason to do it. It makes no sense. But he calls me Jack all the time, and then people look at me like, Jack, I thought your name was John. Like, oh my God, it is. It's just that it's Jack's short for John. Like Jack Kennedy was actually John Kennedy, like John F. Kennedy. See, like it makes no sense. Like, cause it's so absurd, because it's like John. Yeah, John, like, he's the guy from up the street. And then like the other guy, like Jack, the guy from up the street. You think it's 2 different people. You don't think John and Jack could be the same guy, because it doesn't make any sense. It makes literally no sense. Actually, we should probably look this up. Let me why is Jack short for John? Let's look this up. Let's see why. The name Jack dates back to about 1200 12,000, and was originally used in a generic name for present. Of course, John was once used as the name of the English Commodore, and peasant John Doe, which could be why Jack became his nickname. Oh, that's why. Okay, that makes sense, but it's still stupid because just because we use John Doe for like missing people or peasants doesn't mean that means John should be like, because that doesn't offend me at all. I'm not like so offended by the fact that like, oh yeah, like when they hear John, they're gonna assume that I'm like some dead guy or a peasant, that like we should call him Jack instead. Like you should call him like Johnny, or like Johnny should have been like the name for someone who's a peasant or someone who was an English Commodore. But yeah, it's silly and it's dumb too. This is my life. This is the life I live, guys. So I know when I started this podcast tonight, I was like, oh God, I'm like, what am I going to talk about? I'm like, God, I'm like, I have to wake myself up. So I started watching a lot of Cardi B videos, which was really good. Cardi B. Then I went to Nicki Minaj. And just something about watching Nicki Minaj like twerk in a big bowl of maybe just watercolor, like with white food coloring, or it could be milk, which I think would be absolutely disgusting. Like if it was milk, because I'm sure that can you get a yeast infection? So okay, question. This is for all the people who have vaginas. So because watching these videos with Nicki Minaj twerking in a big bowl of milk, can you get a yeast infection from that, from like the sugar and all, like maybe like from like the hormones and stuff? Like can there be like some sort of like yeast infection or some kind of like imbalance that goes on down there? Because isn't there like a whole clock and certain chemicals? And what blows my mind, this is the one thing that still to this day blows my mind, like when women can sync up and like have their periods at the same time. That's incredible. That makes no sense to me at all. As someone who does not have anything like that, and who is who just has a wiener, I'm like what? Like so yeah. So the alpha female will like dictate everyone else in the room, so they can sync up and like all drop eggs at the same time. That's absolutely incredible to me, because I'm like, what? What's also another crazy thing too is that how your balls hang can be directly related to how many like women that are fertile or that are like just horny at that moment, like around you. So if you hang around like a bunch of women that are all pretty fertile and like they're all pretty like what's the word promiscuous, then your balls will hang lower, because knowing like just the chemical and like the chemical release from them and the hormones that you can smell, that you can that it will indicate that like, oh, these women are wanting to fuck. And so that means if you want to fuck, that means we can possibly have babies, and we all can reproduce. And that's really the only reason why we're here as human beings. It's just to reproduce, really, because that was the whole purpose. Because there was no such thing as houses and money, and you don't have to have like a certain like fame or have like podcast. Like I want to be a famous person on a podcast, and so like our bodies are just like, you know what, we need to fuck, we need to have babies, and that's it. Like, and that's basically it. And so yeah. So football started again. That was good. I mean, this is like the best time of year. This is honestly the best time of year, because like football season, there's nothing else that matters during football season. Like everything else goes to the wayside. It all matters about how good your fucking team is. And so if you don't know, my team is the Rams. They did, we won. We beat the Cowboys, but the thing is, our defense looked pretty shitty. So I wasn't really impressed by that, and I really wasn't impressed by the fact that we will have a team that can just march down the field. We can march down the field, but we can never get into the fucking end zone. And all we do is kick field goals. We just kick field goals. We kick field goals. And like Jared Goff will like be, he'll go 22 for like 29 and he'll have like 300 yards passing, but he won't have any touchdowns. And we'll have like 6 field goals. It's like, how do you... And the thing is, like, it is just not the Rams that do that. It's all of NFC football. It is the most slowest. Like, everyone was always like, well, it's like, just smash mouth football. It's like slow as fuck. And like, there's no talent whatsoever. And it's so funny going and watching, like, granted, I know it's Patrick Mahomes, like watching one of the most superior offensive, like group of players that has like ever played together, because it's really awesome. You have a quarterback, you have Patrick Mahomes. At running back, you have that McClear guy now, that rookie, and then you have like Hill, Watkins. Watkins would be definitely and easily be a number 1 at any other team, but since he plays for the Chiefs, he's like their third option, because you have Kelsey, and then you have Hill, Kelsey, and then I think they have like one more guy that's I think there's gonna be like their 5th guy who's like, I guess he runs like a 4-2 or a 4-2-2, something absurd, almost as fast as Hill. But can you see how excited I'm getting? But yeah, so it's like so going from watching that, then going and watching my NFC Rams play, it is one of the most saddest things in the world, because I have my friends will sit and watch, we'll watch, because they're all Chiefs fans, and we'll watch that game. We'll have, drink beers, and then we'll go, and then like we'll watch my Rams like march down the field first drive, and then they'll score a touchdown, and it'll be yeah, fuck yeah, and you're gonna think this game's gonna go, and then the other team will score a touchdown, okay, and then like the Rams will kick a field goal, like we'll get the ball back, and they'll kick a field goal, they'll go down to like the 8-yard line, get stopped, and then like get stopped, and it's like, then you're like, it's 4th and 1, and like they'll just kick a field goal, and so it goes up to like 10-7, and then the Rams will stop a couple possessions for whatever team they're playing, and then what will happen, it'll just stay 10-7 until the 4th quarter, and then it'll get up like 24-21, all on fucking field goals. And it is the most absurd watching football. It is the most sad, and it's so slow. And everyone's like, yeah, John, this is the team that you like. This is the team that you brag about so much. And I'm like, yeah, that's what we do. And granted, we're in a really weird year, because like we paid a bunch of money to a bunch of players. We paid our quarterback really early, and then we have, I think, another $20 million that is we have to just shave off of like our salary, because that goes to a running back that we don't have anymore, that we traded at the end of this past season. I know we didn't trade him, we just let him go, so we didn't have to give him like a certain extra amount of money. And that's the big thing with the Rams, they'll give you all this money, and so I'll just give make it easier. So like they're gonna give you $10. Like that's what your contract is. Like your contract says that you're gonna get $10. I'm making this super easy so you can understand. But like you're only guaranteed $6. But you can get to $10 by if you meet like a certain yards in a season. If you get a certain amount of touchdowns, those little things will add like another $1, which aka like another $1 million to your $10. And but what would happen is like little things like if they'll also say like, hey, but if we release you before like this date, then what happens is you're only going to get that $6 versus like getting that additional $7-8 that you would have gotten because of touchdowns and because of yards. So it's those little things that like the Rams do in their contracts that kind of are what saves them. Honestly, this is what saves them a good amount of the time with these contracts. But we've paid our quarterback we paid him a year early, which was fine. Goff's not the best quarterback. I say he's a little bit better than Alex Smith. Alex Smith is, I would say, the baseline is like as a middle of the line QB. What's so funny is like I watch clips all the time of like watch Alex Smith the last year that he was there as the starting quarterback, because he had Hill, Watkins, and Kelsey, and he couldn't do shit with them. Like he couldn't do anything. And then the following year, and then watch that now that Patrick Mahomes has those same 3 players. Literally all they did, and they lost a offensive lineman. And that's it. Same exact team. Super Bowl. It's insane. It's like quarterbacks are a big deal. Quarterbacks are a huge fucking deal, everything like that. And then we paid Donald. Donald has a big contract, and Ramsey has a big contract, and we paid Cook a big contract, but he's not there anymore. We traded him. But we have good players. Higbee. We have Higbee. We have Woods. Defensive wise, Johnson, Ramsey. Our linemen have our linebackers have always been I say our weakest point because we just don't have any. We just have very no name guys, second, third round, undrafted, middle linebackers. So our secondary is bomb. It's definitely a secondary you've always wanted. We've had Talib, we've had who else did we had? We had not Breland. Because Breland's for the Chiefs. Who was that other guy that was such a fucking hothead? Talib. He played for the Chiefs too. We had Ramsey. We've had all these really superior secondary line, these secondary free safeties and corners and stuff like that. So and things like this, this is where I feel football's starting to go now. Is you need to have, as well as you have a quarterback and you pay him a lot of money. There's a defensive your free safety or your safety. You're gonna have to pay one of these guys a lot of top money because these are the guys who see everything. These are your key player for the whole defense, who's gonna be able to figure out who can read and understand. Now they're audibling out to a pass action play or versus doing a bootleg play, anything like that. And I wonder if I've lost anyone. If you're still here after listening to all this football talk, then good for you. You're a good person. Apparently, you can't do this anymore. This is a white supremacist thing. This is the world that we live in. But then, football. It's a good time. It's a good sport, and you can see I'm a Chiefs fan too. I like the Chiefs as well as the Rams. I won a state championship in the Rams stadium, their old one when they were in St. Louis. So I kind of feel once you play in an NFL football stadium and you win a championship there, I kind of feel it's not that you're obligated, but it gives you a good reason to yeah, this is my team now. This is the team I'm going to always root for, just because I won something superior in my football career in this, and this is football related. But yeah, I had a really funny story. So at the gym, another gym story. When I'm at the gym, there is a individual who likes to walk around with no shoes on. And what's so interesting is what shocks me about it the most is because it's a black guy, and I just assume that black guys they're better than that. I would just assume the black culture is always they're always making sure they look, their image and everything like that looks good. And so to me seeing this it seems like a white guy move. It seems like a severe white guy move, and he'll do it. He'll deadlift, and he deadlifts a lot of weight. He'll deadlift 400, 500 pounds, a tit ton amount of weight. But he always does it shoeless, and he walks around the gym shoeless. And my buddies and not my people that I text, I call him the shoeless Black Joe Jackson, and that's what. But and what's so interesting is that when he's by himself and he works out by himself, never wears shoes. But then when he works out with other black guys, guess what? He wears shoes because he knows better. He knows for sure that if he were to ever do that in front of another black person or another brown person, how much shit he would get for that. And it's hilarious that this person chooses to do, and it's so gross. It's not it's just gross. I think it's disgusting for yourself to especially right now, we're in a pandemic. Why are you walking around with no shoes on? It's just bro, do you not read the room at all? And this has nothing to do with racial thing. This has just has to do as a person. And what are you willing to do? What is okay in your book if that's okay in your book? Going barefoot around in a gym. If that's okay in your book, then you're what gross other things that are you okay? Like how then what I start thinking is like, how clean is his bathroom? When was the last time he changed his toothbrush? Like how often does he change his bedding? It should be every week. These are the things I think about. Like when I see someone at the gym walking around barefoot like it's no big deal. Like you're just like feet in the sand. Just like, I'm in Malibu. Don't worry about me. I'm just having fun over here. It's like, no, not okay. That stuff is not okay in my book. It's, like that, and like when people pick their nose and eat it. Those are probably the two things that make me kind of want to throw up in my mouth a little bit. I don't know about you, but it really does that to me. And so what else do I have I can talk about? I'm just, guys, I'm just over here doing God's work. I think that's just doing God's work, just over here, doing what what God wanted me to do. I think that's like one of the most absurd statements you could ever say about anything, like doing God's work. It's like, how pretentious do you think you are? Like, okay, like what are you doing? You're screwing bolts into a swimming pool, above ground swimming pool, dude. You're not doing that much things, Jack. So like, calm down. Just calm down. Yeah. God, what else do I have? I don't. Oh, I guess we can end it in this. So I kind of I'm trying to think like when I do this podcast, like should I do a little bit more segment based? Like I feel like I'm just kind of write down a list of stuff and I just kind of go down it. I should maybe like have like sports talk and then have this one little part being about, movies and all that jazz. But so I watched a movie last night that was actually really interesting. After the Rams game, I watched a movie called Jojo Rabbit. It was really interesting. It had to do with this boy who, it was set in Germany, and it was back in World War II, where this little boy, a 10-year-old boy who was super into wanting to become a Nazi when he got older. And he like went to Nazi little like boy camp. It was basically, it looked like, Boy Scouts or something like that, but for little kids who want to be Nazis. And the whole thing's about, how he, Jews are, will brainwash you. Jews can like speak without talking. Like Jews are like snakes, and they'll bite you and they'll convert you to being Jewish. It's a lot of funny stuff. It was a really funny movie. And like there's Hitler, and like Hitler's like his inner voice. So like he'll be in his room and he'll be talking, and like Hitler will show up, and Hitler's like, the internal voice that he has with himself. And that's how you learn more about this character is through like this conversation that he's having with himself, but it's not really with himself. Well, come to find out, so he's only with his mother because his father got killed in the war. And so it's only him and his mother. And then you find out that his mom is like super against the war and writes goes around the city and has like notes that say free Germany in the war kind of thing. Come to find out that she's like super she's like the I guess what you'd call she's going to be a sacrifice because she ends up dying in the whole thing. Spoiler alert. But like there's a Jew, she has a Jew that's hiding in the walls, and like she feeds her every day and all that stuff. And then like the guy ends up like learning a little bit more about being about how like he shouldn't hate Jews and all that stuff. But it's a really good movie. I have like about 45 seconds left. That's why I would have gone more into it a little bit deeper, but I'm about to run out of time. So you should like, comment, and subscribe. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I kind of feel like I went, ooh, and I'm kind of just ending it real quick on you. So I really do hope you guys have a good week. Have fun. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Again, like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for the ones who do give me thumbs up on these videos. It's really nice. If you do watch them, thank you. Been consistently it's like growing a little bit more. If you check out my other podcast, the Aaron and John Show, check out the Cool Baby Podcast. It's a podcast that I produce. Aaron does it with another comedian. What else can I have to say? I don't think there's really anything else, guys. I hope you are safe. Be good. I'm going to try to watch some Monday Night Football now. So I will see you guys on the next episode. Bye.